I okay, so I didn't see the 30-second countdown, but whatever. We are live on all firing on all cylinders right now. Sorry about the 30-second countdown. It didn't happen, but it's okay. Y'all gotta forgive me. I'm a
Okay.
little left foot when it comes to StreamYard. I'm a Zoom user, but it's okay. My right hand guy is not here this morning, so I'm doing it by myself. But we got this going. Please welcome Ebby J to the stage. She
Hi.
is doing some amazing, amazing things out there in South Carolina. She is working with people who are getting over traumas and going through things. She has a business called, I almost want to say co-ed again, but that's not it. It's
Choked.
yeah, Choate Constructing, Choate Consulting Firm LLC. Let me get
Yes.
tongue tied. I don't know what's going on with my mouth today, but we are here. We're going to make this happen. Hi, Abby. How are you doing?
Hello, hello. It's super early. And if you're like me, super jet lagged. So I totally get it. It's a little bit of a tongue twister too.
Yeah, she's been traveling. So she's actually, we were talking while she was flying back into South Carolina. And so it's been a few days of rambunctiousness for her, but we are here. We are ready to pour into you and give you some great information. And I love, Ebby, for the simple fact that we're both in alignment with where we're going and what we're talking about and what we're doing, because we want to be there for people. We want to help you get past your traumas. We want to help you get your mindset stronger so you can get focused and geared towards what you want to do for your life so you can produce the results you are looking for. And we understand, and she even goes deeper into behavioral therapy and just behavioral things going on in your mind with the neural pathways that you have, and then going back into your childhood traumas and being able to pull out those emotions where you have them at, that has created habits in your life that a lot of us do not see, but they are in the way of our progress towards greatness. So I'm going to let Evie tell you about her journey and why she does what she do.
Well, I did not pay her for that, but I might have to. You need to travel with me. That was really great, and it really encapsulated a lot of what I do. So I am Ebby J, the Ebby J, and trauma is my thing. Crazy, right? But trauma is my thing. My uncle says it like this: in every child is an adult fighting to live, and in every adult is a child who's fighting to heal and survive. So we are the sum total of who we are is encapsulated in our childhood, right? So childhood trauma is my thing. It's the one area that we don't talk about. You don't hear a whole lot about it. I nothing. If you want to see me turn up real quick, tell somebody to just get over something. That's not how it works. So being able to create that safe space to be safe enough to even admit that something happened to you, whatever your something is, because a lot of times when we hear trauma, we automatically think of like molestation and rape or, something heinous. That's not always the case. Sometimes it was just you did not get enough attention from your parents. Maybe they did not have the capacity to love you the way that you needed to be loved. Maybe they were stressed out and they worked a lot, so they missed out on a lot of things. Or childhood placement, firstborn, secondborns, thirdborn, singles, all live in separate worlds in one household, and a lot of times that can be extremely traumatic. So I exist. I have overcome. I am still journeying through. Sorry to tell you, spoiler alert, it's not a finished process, right? So it's a journey that you're walking out, and you heal at different levels and at different phases as you progress, and different parts of you, different levels of you, different demands of you pulls on different parts of that trauma. So yes, I thought I got over that, or I thought I healed that. Yeah, for that level that you're on, or for that challenge, or for that job, or that relationship. Yes, you did. You did amazing work, and honor that. Well, now this new part of you is tugging at a different source spot that you may not have needed to address, or had the courage or the safety to address. So Schultz Consulting Firm LLC, we are here. to really create that safe space and walk with you through that journey of healing that childhood trauma so you can live a free and fulfilling life.
Yes, and it's so much that we don't understand and realize. And the biggest thing, like what Evie is saying, is like you have some unconscious things and habits that you do and you're not sure where it's coming from. And there's a lot of times that I know Evie and I was talking earlier this week, you have this emotion that comes over you and you're not understanding really why you have this emotion, why you have this emotional feeling, and you're not sure where it comes from, which is the part that I jump in and help out with through my coaching is self-awareness. Because if you're not aware of what you're doing in your environment and what's going on around you, you're not going to be aware of the triggers that Ebby is talking about that is causing you to feel a certain way. So awareness is really, really big key. And I get so deep into awareness to you guys know that like I told you, within the last year, almost a year and a half now, I secluded myself from everybody, not, being mean about it, but I just secluded myself from everybody since the pandemic was here and everybody got laid off. Well, a lot of people got laid off, and construction was my key area of focus. And that's always the first to get hit. But during this time, it was this downtime. I was like, you know what? I need to go into Desiree and get deeper into the understanding of how do I be more aware of who I am and where I'm starting from at this point moving forward. Also looking back on my milestones in my life of how I got to this point of where I am right now. It's a lot of parts of your life, like Eddie said, you have to break it apart. It's not like this is my life and it's one big ball. It's an onion. You have to pull off all of these layers so you can see the vision, you can see the journey, you can see and understand your course. I actually woke up this morning and I had this on my mind. It was like everybody always looks for what is my purpose? What is my purpose? And I don't know why this came to me this morning. It was like, we're not assigned a purpose when we're here on this earth. We're not assigned a purpose. We create purposes through our passions from the pains that we go through in this world. So you'll go through something painful that will create a passion in you to change that thing so nobody else goes through that pain. So as you're going through your experiences in life, through those pain points in your life, you're creating a passion or you're creating more pain. And what people don't understand is a lot of times you have a pain in your life and you're attached to that pain and you add pain to pain, and it has you to have these emotions of depression, anxiety, and fear and doubt and worry. And you start to create this ball of negative emotions that you don't know how to get rid of. So Ebby will break all of that down for you so you can compartmentalize your emotions, so you can understand where you're coming from and you can put it into
Right,
perspective to understand it.
right.
Because when you get overwhelmed with emotions, that's what people mean. We're like, I'm overwhelmed. That means you're experiencing multiple emotions at the exact same time and you don't know what to do with all these chemicals that are being released in your brain. And it's like, oh my
But
God,
yeah, but it doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
it's
So
not
emotions
bad.
get these. We talk about emotions with such a negative connotation. Not you and I, because we get it,
Right,
right? But if
right.
you go to someone and you tell them I'm overwhelmed, typically their response is super negative. Well, just
Yeah.
calm down, or you're just thinking about it too much. Our emotions are guides. Now, I
Yes.
often ask, what's leading that emotion though? Are you trauma bonding, like you were just talking about? Or is it trying to tell you something? Our emotions are trying to, they're like a map, right? So they're leading
Mm-hmm.
us and they're telling us, like, all right, maybe we've been stuck here too long, or uh-oh, I don't think you're paying attention to something. It's our little alarms that are going off in our head. But these are conversations that we did not grow up having. At least I didn't.
I didn't
I didn't
either.
grow up with a therapist or a house. I actually grew up in a house with a psychopath, a legitimate psychopath. Um,
Yeah.
so feelings, you were prohibited. It was very cold. It was very distant. It wasn't loving at all. So I had to learn that my feelings were not bad. Now I do not recommend anybody to set off on a journey following just their feelings. If you're going
Right.
to feel, you need accountability, you need support, and you need some foundation. Because just because you feel it doesn't always mean it's accurate, right? So
Or you
that
may
is
not
that
be
is the
understanding it right way.
exactly, because our bodies know good and bad, right? And so if it can't automatically deem as good, then we automatically throw it into the bad category. And that's not always right. And so that's a lot of times, you were saying, we start to spiral off. We got this feeling, right? Whenever you hear somebody say, I got this feeling, we automatically go, uh-oh, what happened? Somebody pregnant, somebody died? It doesn't mean it's bad. Your body, your spirit, God, I'm a believer, so I refer to, the Bible and God throughout this. I don't mean to offend anyone. That's just my belief. It's trying to tell you something. It's trying to alert you to something. Stop automatically thinking everything is bad. That's
Right.
programming. That's trauma, right? Something must be wrong for me to feel this. No, you need to know when to feel when things are right. So it can help you make better decisions and help guide you in the way that you need to go. It's called peace. But if you're used to turbulence, peace can seem bad, right? We're
Or
waiting for
very
that shoe to drop.
uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Yes, yes. And like what she was talking about, your programming. I talk about this on the show all the time because I am so big on the programming. You are programming your mind every time you feel an emotion and you have the behavior after. The behavior after is the programming. So you can't stop the triggers. You can't stop the triggers because the triggers is what causes that emotional feeling to come anyway. And what I was, and this is the bigger thing too, right? Before I forget this point, I really want to make this point. There's a lot of times that depending on who you're around, what energy they are pulling off, you will pick up their energy and then it will create an emotion in you that is not yours. It does not belong to you. Learn what emotions belong to you and which ones do not, because when you could be around somebody and you will never know that your coworker, let's just use this as an example, your coworker had a huge argument with their spouse that morning. That day for them was like horrible. Their kids are not listening. They're trying to get them up and get them ready for school. They're trying to get ready for work themselves. They didn't eat. They missed eating because of this argument, and everything is chaotic at home that morning. Now, on their route to work, which they're not understanding and thinking about, all that chaos because you didn't release the emotion of the chaos that you had in the morning before you hit the road on the way to work. Now you're going to experience chaos on the way to work because you're holding on to that emotion and you're going to draw to you what you're feeling. So as you're having this crazy day to work, now the freeway has an accident and it's backed up. You can't get there. Now you got to try to get off and reroute yourself. And I'm using terminology because I'm being ready to link it back to your brain. But you're going to reroute to get to work and try to find the fastest way to get there so you can be on time. So in your emotion of being there on time, you are now 5 minutes late getting into the building. You're 10 minutes late for a meeting that you knew you had to be there for. It's highly important. Everybody's looking at you crazy. Your boss is side eyeing you. Now you're sitting there distraught because you never took the time to actually stop and compartmentalize emotions. So they're snowballing. Now you get in there
Mhm.
and now you feel a certain way because your boss is looking at you side eye and your team is sitting there looking at you like, what the hell wrong with you? And you're trying to like, oh my gosh, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. And you're still in that rush moment of those emotions that are snowballing. Now you have to give this presentation. You give this presentation and you bomb it because you don't remember everything that you need to talk about or you prepared for. You prepared for it and prepared, and you know it's going to be right. It's going to be great. But because you didn't compartmentalize your emotions, or even take, let's say, you know what, I'm already late. Let me sit in the car 5 minutes and just recollect myself, remove this, breathe deep, think of happy thoughts, and I'm going to go in there with a new mind because I'm not going to allow this to keep snowballing into what I'm doing. And now you're there, and now this happened, and guess what? Now you are the other person sitting in the meeting. You're looking at this person coming in. You have no idea what they just went through at work, at home, and you have a conversation with them after the meeting to say, are you okay? You just seem like you're not yourself today. And they're like, oh, no, no, I'm fine. It was just traffic. They'll blame it on just the traffic. They're not going to give you the whole story, the back end. It's just the traffic. So now you're like, okay, well, it's just traffic. To you, it's like no big deal. The energy coming off of them is now radiating in you because you're right there talking to them and you're having a dialogue. And that whole argument that they had with their spouse, you're feeling some type of way now, like, well, what's going on with me? You're feeling, argumentative or angry or depressed or frustrated. You getting all these feelings that you weren't even feeling before you talked to them.
Mhm.
It's because their energy is now radiating off of you. You come into that 6 foot contact. We're talking about 6 feet in COVID. It's actually 6 feet in energy. You know what I'm saying? Because you get close enough to that energy, you're going to pull that energy off of someone else, and you're feeding off of other people's energy. So if you're not being self-aware and conscious of what's going on around you in your life, you're going to be feeding off a lot of people's energy. So if you're not mindful of yourself, you are going to start reacting in the energies that you're feeling. So that makes people look like they're all over the place. So if you have that feeling like you're all over the place, you just need to compartmentalize your emotions. You need to get a hold of your emotions. And I tell people all the time, you can't make a solid decision from an emotional mindset. So if you're really emotional, your decisions after that, they're going to be chaotic. And then later you're going to be like, I don't know why. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I made that decision. I don't know what I was thinking. It's because you weren't thinking. You were just in that, like she said, you're in that place of emotions and you're reacting from emotions only. So that's the programming. Now your brain is like, okay, this is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to grab other people's emotions and we attach them to ourselves, and this is part of our life. It's the programming. Go ahead. I know it's coming. I want to hear that one.
I was
Yes,
gonna
it's going
say
to
you
be
can't
good.
blame that on the brain though. That is not the brain's function. So here's the
That's
fun thing,
you.
right? We don't understand the brain body mind connection. Your brain and your mind are not the same thing. So that's number one that people don't understand. It's called emotional intelligence. So the reason why my frustration a lot of time frustrated you, since we're talking about this, work scenario. So I'll take the person that came in late, right?
Okay.
So oftentimes the reason why my energy frustrated you was because it triggered you. So you've been there, you can recognize it. What we don't do a lot of times is go, all right, I know this meeting has already started. Give us 5 minutes and help the person short circuit that. So, what we tell
Right.
people in essence when we're compartmentalizing, we're telling them to stuff it for a moment or put it in a box.
Right.
What that does though is just like sweeping stuff under a rug. At some point, the box overflows. And what oftentimes happens is when you came to ask me about my day, either I'm A, gonna lie, girl, it was just traffic and traffic, pissed me off, or I'm gonna blow up. I was fine. And why did you do this? And now I'm embarrassed. So I'm not able to see that you're really trying to help me, as you say, reroute, aka short circuit my thought process. And so either like normally one of two things happen. Very rarely does the third thing happen when they go, thank you so much for seeing me, and identifying that I need help and actually showing up to help because we're not
Right.
used to people coming to help, which is why I think what you do is so beautiful. But it's that short circuit because here's the thing, traffic is bad every day, right? Your husband was probably an asshole yesterday. Your kids didn't listen to you the day before, which is why you had to threaten them today.
Right.
That all of those things are constant. But when you have that one thing that set you off, instead of going, whoa, wait a minute, this is not my morning. This is not going to be my day. It was an unfortunate or a bad thing that happened. I'm not going to have a bad day. Traffic, you'll be able to turn on some music and tune out them kids, or be able to tell your husband, listen, not today, bro. We'll talk about it when I get back and not ruminate on it. So not keep replaying it. Oh no, he didn't. Who he think he talking to? Today is the day. And when I get to work, they bet not be getting on my nerve either. So all of this energy is flowing through your body. And for
Yes.
those of us that are empaths, which are typically the people that are bothered by the dysfunction,
Mhm.
you know the difference between empaths and narcissists?
Yep.
One internalized it, the other one externalized it. So they're
Yes.
repelling it onto everyone else. But they're
Yes.
feelers just like we are. It's how we handle it. So, it's that short circuiting of what we call Murphy's Law. That is probably the one of the worst things that we could have told people about because then they take that and they use it instead of going, no, something bad happened to me this morning. It doesn't mean that my world is crumbling apart. What we focus on is what we see. So if we're only looking at the negative, we did not see any of the positive. Like, hey, I might have left work late, but I didn't get in an accident. And we all know we were super distracted. So, I didn't run a red light. No one ran into me. I did not, slap my child like they probably deserved. So all of these things are happening that are positive, that, hey, my kids did get dressed. And I only had to say it once or twice. My husband did calm down after I told him, looking at the negative. So what we pay attention to, what we give energy to, what we give life to is all that we notice. So that's what's
Right.
so beautiful about what you said, the rerouting. But your brain, our brain and our mind are at constant battle until we learn to bring it into alignment. Your brain will tell you, like, no, it's okay. Your mind, on the other hand, is the voice in your head, right? So it's this constant, you hear you in your head. That's why I tell people all the time, if we can get you out of your head, it's not your mama, it's not your grandmama. They may have said things to you, but typically you don't hear their voice. You hear your voice. All these, they said, whenever we find out who the hell they are, it's your voice that you hear. Like, they talking
Right.
about me, they don't like me. But it's only in areas that you're uncertain about, that you feel
Yes.
uncomfortable about. All of
Yes.
a sudden they disappear when you're confident. How ironic, right?
Right. And all the, like she said, all those voices. And I always tell people you got two voices, your conscious and your subconscious. You
Ooh.
got the part of you that wants to jump in. And this is when I tell people you got to learn how to get out of your way. So I started my Wednesday classes. So this Wednesday, every Wednesday, we're talking about getting out of your own way. But one of the voices is you being in the way. The other voice is you being your higher self and giving direction to what you don't see, which is why they say walk in faith, not by sight. Your consciousness is your sight, your subconsciousness is your faith. If you listen to the two voices of people, like, well, how do you know which one is which? Which one is telling you, and based off of the information it's giving you, is looking at your environment and giving you information based on your environment, and which one is giving you information based off of something you can't see and don't know or understand? I said, go with the not knowing side, because that's your spiritual side, your higher self saying, guide you here. I'm guiding you there. When you get that voice in your head, go left. And then you go left and you don't, like, why am I going left? Like, I don't even go that direction. That's because now you're in the unknowing. You're in the unknowing. Follow it, because you probably going to miss the accident because you're not going to go right, which is normally the way you go, and you're going to avoid an accident or something that's going to happen. So it's your higher self warning you from things that are going to come up that it can see that you can't. But like she said, with the body, and I learned this from experience with this recent situation of having my shoulder surgery 2.5 months ago. When I tell you that going through a surgery, and if you really pay attention to your body, you can feel all three elements. You can feel the body fighting the mind fighting the subconscious, subconscious fighting the body. It's like a whole internal thing, because your body is going to go off of instinct. So it's going to intuitively protect you. It's designed to protect you. Your subconscious is designed to guide you, and your consciousness is designed to give you free will to whatever decisions and things that you have coming up in your life. It is up to you to, like she said, to put all these things and elements into alignment. Bob Proctor is really good at breaking down the subconscious, conscious, and the body. And when I was in therapy and my therapist was trying to stretch my arm, I just felt it tighten up. And then I'm in my mind, I'm like, okay, just what's wrong with my arm? And I'm trying to fight with me, physically fighting with my arm. And I'm telling my therapist, I'm like, I'm trying to relax my arm and it will not relax. He said, because it's intuitive, it's going to hold and snatch and tighten up because it's in pain and it doesn't want you to make it worse. So then subconsciously I have to go in and I meditate while I'm in therapy. I will go in and just meditate, and I have to send these messages to my body to relax so I can get the therapy that I need, so I can heal, because my body doesn't understand that I need to do this and go through this pain to heal, because that's not what it's designed to do. It wasn't designed to allow you to go through pain. So when you're going through pain and trauma, your body is going to do things to protect you. And a lot of times that protection is one, or overprotection, and two, it needs to just break down. You need to learn how to break down those walls, because for you to go through the pain is where you find your healing on the other side. You have to go through the pain to find the healing. You can't avoid the healing. And even when you box it, don't forget about what you threw in your box, right? Because it'll turn into Pandora on you. And then, like she said, you're going to explode and you're going to blow up. When you shelf things, and I call it shelving it, I was like, I shelf my emotions. And I have certain conversations with people. And I said, hold on, let me shelf my emotions right now. And they'll just kind of look at me. No, I need to shelf my emotions because I need to be logical in this conversation. Emotions don't belong in this conversation. So I need to be completely aware of what you're saying. And what I'm telling you is I am right now in the moment with you. I am not going to be allow these emotions to take my mind somewhere else. I am in the moment with you. And I'm saying shelving something, I'm completely in the moment, aware, right here, in this moment with you. I'm going through this experience right now with you, emotionless. Now, that is not something you can just turn off. You really have to practice everything that she's talking about, everything that you're doing. You have to practice shelving your emotions. You have to practice compartmentalize. You have to practice reframing. And I say reframing because in NLP, they call it like you reframing,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So you have
Exactly
to
what we're doing.
reframe and you have to reconstruct the programming that your body is running from, because those are what I tell my clients, these are laws. You are building laws and bylaws for your body to run on. And when you tell your body what law you're okay with, it doesn't need you to think for it. It's just going to do what it needs to do. So
Muscle
you can
memory.
drive down the street and not even pay attention to what the light was. You can have the conversation with somebody, don't even remember the conversation you just had because your body's on automatic. It already knows what you want. It's going off of the programming. You can't change the programming until you're aware that the programming is not, right for whatever you're doing in your life. If it doesn't fit your life, now you know your programming is off. Then you have to go get reprogrammed. And she will reprogram your traumas, and I'm going to reprogram your awareness so you can now move forward and wherever you're going. Because like I tell anybody, and I tell her, I don't do trauma. I won't even coach on trauma. We can
Mm-hmm.
have those conversations here and there. I won't go deep in that because it's not a place that is comfortable for me. Not
Okay.
because of the traumas that I've been through. It's because I get frustrated because people don't listen. And then when people are going through traumas, their mind like shuts down and they go deep in this programming. And to try to pull somebody out of that programming is annoying for me. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
going to be really honest and very, very, very transparent. There's certain topics and things I will touch on and we can have a conversation about because it's part of your life. I'm not going to omit anything. But when you
Mm-hmm.
need deeper understanding on that, hey, Ebby got you. But when you're done with Ebby, come see me. You know what I'm saying? I got you after that, but I can't do what she needs you to do. Or if it's a relationship and you're having some deep
Mm-hmm.
rooted relationship issues, no, that is not, I'm not getting ready to do it because I know me and I am I have a very strong mind and a strong will. So
Uh-huh.
when people don't have that strength in them like that in certain areas, I'm gonna get frustrated with you because I'm like, this is simple. This is easy. Like, why are you not doing the work? Like, just do the work. And I'm gonna get frustrated. So, in order for me to not get frustrated, because I can't help you if I'm frustrated, is stay in my lane. My lane is self-awareness and personal
Woo!
development. When you are awake and aware and they have already pulled out your traumas and helped you get to a place where now you're accountable and you
Mm-hmm.
know that you're the reason why your life is producing the results you have, even though you want to blame everybody else. I don't play the blame game. I hate the blame
Mm-hmm.
game. I used to be one, so don't get it wrong. I've been there. I used to blame everybody for everything in my life. It was everybody
Mm-hmm.
else's fault. It was never mine. But as I have grown and come to a place of awareness for myself, I know that everything is my fault. I don't even, if I get into a car accident, and I wasn't at fault for the accident, it was on me because there was something that I was thinking in my mind that made me energetically attract to that accident. And I have to concentrate on what am I thinking? What's going through my mind? What am I doing? If there's anything that goes wrong in my life, I don't look at anything on the outside. I look at me. What am I thinking? Where is my mindset? Because I'm not thinking about, I'm thinking about something that is not consciously, it's subconsciously or unconsciously, and it is drawing the wrong attention to me. So I constantly be on aware and a checkpoint of where my mind is and where my mind is going, of what I'm thinking about to make sure that my mind isn't wandering off and thinking about some old past trauma or something and it's pulling certain energies to me. So I'll be more aware of that. And then I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm doing something. I'm not doing something right. I'm thinking like, where am I thinking? Where are my thoughts at? And I have to start searching for where my thoughts are. And I'm like, okay, that was it. And when you find it, I'm like, okay, now I know where my programming is trying to kick in certain areas. Because as you're growing and you're building on yourself and you are being more aware and you've gotten, like she said, you think you've gotten past the traumas, and next thing you know, it comes back and hits you again. Like, I thought I was over that. You have to constantly be aware of where your brain, where your thoughts are going, because your thoughts are going to create your reality. It's going to create your results in your life for what is real for you, but it's not going to come sometimes right then. It may come a week later, a day later, a month later, a year later. It just depends on how focused you are on that thought. Be aware of what you're thinking, because you're going to attract that energy to you. Be aware of who you're around. That's why they say be conscious of who you're around. I know she like, nah, not all the way, but I like that because
I agree.
I like
I
the
agree
back
with
and forth.
I agree with some of what you're saying, but other parts I'm like, yeah, no, that's not really how that
No,
works.
bring it.
Um,
This is why we
so,
here.
now the one thing there were several really great things that you pointed out. So when we're dealing with trauma, we're really dealing with childhood. So I'm a parent. I don't know how many other parents we have watching this. Um, our children are sometimes the biggest source of our frustration. It's like, how many times do I have to tell you to move the shoes? Pick them up. You know, when you walk through the door in my house, my friends, adults, kids are like, no. The moment you step foot through my threshold, take your shoes
Take
off.
shoes off.
Why do I have to remind you to take the shoes off? There's a sign on the door that says take your shoes off. I just ordered a placemat that says don't wear no shoes in my house. And I promise you, I'm gonna still have to tell somebody to take the shoes off. That's frustrating. Well, when you're working with folks with trauma, especially deep trauma, typically it starts in childhood. It impacted them in childhood, somewhere between the age of 4 and 7. So the reason why it's so frustrating, and it's not just frustrating for you, there are times when I am using my own techniques in my head to not jump across my desk at someone, but you're talking to a 4 year old, right? I don't care that they're 45. I don't care that they're 62. I don't care that they're 22. You're talking to a 4 year old. So it is extremely frustrating, which it is. So the moral of the story is it is extremely frustrating, not just for you, for all of us that work with people with deep trauma as well. So we smile and we nod, and sometimes we have to lovingly get you together. And after you leave, we're just like, Lord, if I have to tell them one more time. But here's the thing, one of those times is going to click. And so that is the beauty in what I do is I know, all right, God, at some point it's going to click. Whether it's an exercise that we give, whether it's a mantra, whether it's an affirmation, whether it's a prayer, your support system, at some point it's going to click. Once it starts to click, then we can place blame where it lays, right? So at the
Right.
beginning, it's them, he, her, she, it, everything else. And sometimes that's the case. There's other times where it's like, yeah, no, boo, that's all you. No, we're going to keep reminding you. We're going to hold this mirror up. All the things that you see are things of your doing. There are instances where it's not your fault, and we're not good at that. Humans, I don't know what it is. We have been taught that everything is our fault and we can control it. But again, that stems from childhood. If parents get divorced, the kids automatically think it's their fault. If I'd have cleaned my room, if I'd have did my homework, if I'd have did better on that test at school, my parents wouldn't have gotten into an argument. They would have divorced. Child, that's not your burden to bear. You had nothing
Mm-mm.
to do with that. There are instances where, were you chatting while you're on the phone? Were you looking for stuff? Were you trying to get that French fry that fell out the bag and the car ran into you, or you ran into the car? Or were you minding your own business and the idiot next to you was doing something different? So we've got to be very, very careful to place blame where it lays. Um, we are very, very powerful beings. Like we are
Mm-hmm.
extremely powerful to the point to where we can errantly think that you into existence. So I would, that's the only part I would challenge you a little bit of, like, no, you probably didn't cause that accident unless you were texting and driving, unless you were not focused. Um, if you were doing all the things that you need to do and it happened, sometimes life just happens. And so that's, I don't think we sit with that enough. That everything is just really not your fault. It's not. Sometimes you're just really not that important in the moment. But it can cause you to look at things, and if nothing else, how gracious are you with yourself? If you are the soul of all of your problems, then you're probably not real gracious to yourself. And it's difficult to be gracious and patient with others when you are so, when you're constantly, I mean, just giving it to yourself. Sometimes we just have to go, my bad.
Yeah.
Like,
And
oops,
sometimes, you know, like I used to be
I'll
very
try
hard on
better next
myself.
time.
Yeah. I used to be extremely
I
hard on
believe it.
myself.
I believe it.
Oh
I
my
hear it.
gosh. Like, oh my gosh. Like, you talking about a perfectionist,
We're
and I had to
women,
learn how to
though.
break
We're
being that.
women.
Yeah.
We were
And
taught that.
yeah, and I actually, and I tell people,
We
I
were
said, I don't
taught it.
even,
Oh my
for me,
gosh.
I won't even use that excuse as I'm a woman. I like, no, like I'm not, for me, I'm like zero excuse, Des, because I'm gonna have a zero tolerance to certain things, especially when it comes to myself. I'm a zero tolerance person to myself, like all hands down. So, and I used to be extremely hard on myself, especially being in construction and being in corporate America in construction at the same time. You're constructing things, and then you have the pressure of corporate America because you're working with corporations and clients that are corporate clients. They're big clients, right? And I started putting a lot of blame on myself, not because, like, when I was hard on myself, I was blaming everybody else, right? I was the victim, and I was in that blame mode, and I was like, if they would have did this, I would have did this. If they would have did this, it could have been like this. If that, and I was like, no, no, no. And then after listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza and Bob Proctor talking about neuroscience and going into metaphysics and neuroscience, and then talked about how we attract energies and things to us, it clicked for me. That clicked for me, right? I've had mentors and coaches saying you can't be hard on yourself. You cannot be a perfectionist. That's not good, Des. You got to let that go, because that's a lot of energy you're using on this one thing to make it perfect, when you can't use all that energy for this one thing to make it perfect. So
There's
for
no
me, it
such
was
thing as
like,
perfection either,
there's
though.
no such thing as perfect, right? So I was like, okay, for me, after listening and doing my, my research for myself, because everybody, look, everything that we're saying, everybody is correct. Go with what you resonate with, because it depends on your understanding, your belief system, and where you are in your life and your journey and how you're going to get to the next step. So whatever is going to help you move the needle forward, roll with it, because a lot of times it's temporary anyway, because as you're growing, whatever moved the needle for you last year will not move the needle for you this year. So you just have to keep educating yourself, keep growing, and keep understanding where you're going and what you want, which is why you need to have a path and a direction. But coming from out of being, so hard on myself, now I look at, if anything goes wrong, I'm looking at me first. I'm not saying that I'm the cause of COVID. If I catch COVID, I'm not saying I'm the cause of COVID. I'm not doing that, right? It makes sense. But example, I was in a narcissistic relationship, being an empath, and we all know we empaths attract narcissists. We just natural attractors to narcissists, because they're looking at us and they're drawn to our energy, because that's what they wish they were. So they're going to be drawn to what they want, and we're drawn to, oh, I want to help somebody. I want to be a nurturer. I want to help this person. I want to do this. And we see the greatness in everybody, even if they don't see it in themselves. I do. I see the greatness in everybody. I don't care if you don't see it. I see it in you. And it's my job to pull it out of you, because I see it and you're great and I want you to be great. Right. But leaving that situation in that scenario, not saying it is right, but everybody's going to be great. That's just the ego talking. Don't mind me. It's the ego talking. Just letting y'all know it's not my subconscious. It's not reality. As far as that is concerned, it's just my ego saying everybody's great and I'm going to make you great. But I remember having a car accident in my car that my ex wanted me to have. He picked out that car. And even though we're not together anymore, I'm still driving in this car. I have memories in this car. He was in this car. His energy is in the car. And everybody know, when people have different energies, your non-physical, non-personable things can carry energy also. Your laptops, your furniture, everything carries energy, speaking on a spiritual level. So for me, the car was like, energetically, I was thinking about different things. I was having dreams that my car was buried. I was having dreams that that I didn't, want that car. It was just the energy and the emotions, the memories that were attached to that car. And right before I had my car accident, I dreamt about it. I saw the car accident before I had the car accident. It was weird. It didn't happen exactly because your dreams don't happen exactly like you see them. They're all like messages that you got to kind of pull apart and understand.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw the accident. I saw it twice. And then a day later, I had the car accident. I'm sitting there in my car about to turn into traffic after I grabbed some food. This lady hit this guy, and the car that she hit pushed into my car and damaged my car. And because of the type of car that I had at the time, since it hit the front, and if it just possibly had engine, that's something they had to do with the engine, they're not about to touch the engine. It was a Mercedes Benz. They're not getting ready to touch a Benz engine because then they feel like that's the whole valuation of the car. Not doing it. They're not going to, even on a brand new car, they will just total your car out. Even if it is fixable, they're totaling it because they don't want no issues later of what it could go into, right? Which is forecasting. I tell people all the time, forecast. You got to forecast your life. You got to, like the insurance. I don't want to do this because it is possibly this, and we can run into a catastrophic situation if we start digging into it, learn how to let things go, right? So for me, that car was something that I was like, it was attached to certain energies. I need to let it go. And because subconsciously, I wanted to let this car go and just wanted another car, I wanted to get rid of this car, maybe I want another car. Boom, car accident. Now, guess what? Total. Guess what? Now you don't have it no more. So just me thinking that I didn't want this car anymore because of the memories that were attached to it, then I have an accident that had nothing to do with my fault as far as driving, but the energy is why I say that the energy I pulled towards it created this accident. And I dreamt about it 2 days before it actually happened. I knew that it was coming. Right? So when I had the accident, it all worked out in my favor. Nobody was hurt. They totaled my car. The check they gave me, I was able to go buy a whole
So, do
nother
you
brand new
think that you
car.
have power over your car? Okay.
Power over
So
what?
there was beauty in it. So there was a silver
Oh yeah,
lining. Now, my
right. Because I
question to
still
you
got what
would
I wanted.
be, okay. So here's my thing. So here's the question that I have. 15 minutes back again. If it's all energy, right? And if
Mm-hmm.
we can control our energy and tell it what to do, then why is it so hard for us to cut off things? Why do we feel like we have to let things play out and that we have to um, do certain things when it comes to it? So where is our governance or our authority over it, right? So that's my challenge there. That's what I, if you were a client, I would ask you that. So why do you feel like you saw the accident coming? You felt all of these feels, and affirm those feelings. If you felt it, you felt it. Here's the thing. Here's the thing I tell healers all the time. Just because I don't agree with it or I don't believe it doesn't mean it's not real to you. And as long as it's real to you, then doggone it, it's going to have to be real to me. If nothing else for that moment. I cannot stand when people diminish people's feelings. Oh, that's not real. It's
Yeah.
100% real to them. But if that is true, and if those are the things that you believe, and if you believe that things happen based on what you say, why didn't you say the opposite?
Why did I say the opposite as far as me not having a car accident?
Mm-hmm.
I never said I didn't want the car accident. I wanted another car. Now, how I got it was, how it came is how it came, right? But I didn't want that
You could have
car
manifested
anymore.
a safer way. So you mean to
Man,
tell me
look,
3 people got to tap their stuff? I got my life got to be in danger to get a new car? No, ma'am.
no, your life ain't got to be in danger to get a new car, but like how it comes, and I know they say this all the time. How it comes is not how you think it's going to come. It's like how we say, "Well, I want this TV," and then you get a TV, but it's not the TV that you expected or thought about it in your mind, because our expectations are usually different than what we actually get. So a lot of people are not going to be comfortable with what they actually receive in their life because it doesn't look like what they thought it was supposed to look like. So for me, I remove what it doesn't look like in my brain, because in my brain, I came across a multimillionaire who married me and gave me everything I wanted, and I was able to easily get rid of the car for me, right? But if I'm not putting myself in the position to meet this multimillionaire to come and change my life on a financial level, to just be able to get the car like I want to and get the car that I
Or go
want,
buy it yourself.
or
Right.
go buy it myself. And if I don't have the means of going to buy it myself, then you got to be accepting of how it comes to you. So, moral of the story is I did want a new car, right? I did not get
Mhm.
hurt. Nothing. And my daughter was in the car with me. We were not injured. Nothing happened to
Oh,
us.
praise
Nothing
God.
went on. The car was damaged. And I'm thinking, okay, they could fix this. I didn't think that the car was, they were going to get rid of it. So my mind was like, okay, I'm stuck with this car. Like how you saying, people saying, why do you? Because people get stuck on a certain mindset or thought process because it's part of our programming. So I'm stuck on this car, and I'm just holding on to this car because I need my car, right? So I'm stuck on a car. I don't have means to pay for another car. I can't go buy another car. I can't go do all that right now financially. So I have to hold on to this car. This car is my bread and butter. I need this car. So I'm going to hold on to the car. I'm not going to release the fact that I got to release this car. I'm going to hold on to this car for dear life. Now that's me getting in the way of what is transpiring in front of me. So I step back and I'm looking like, well, dang, you totaled my car. So two things. One, I did not allow the negative emotion of I have no car no more. To that didn't bother, that didn't even enter to my mind. But for like 30 seconds, like, damn, I ain't got no car. Like, well, that's my bread and butter. I ain't got no car. They totaled it, and I was like, okay, stop. My spirit was like, calm down. You said you wanted another car. Hold on, I'm not done yet. Then it was like, okay, so what are you gonna give me for my car that you're claiming is total? The amount of money they gave me for my car, and I always talk about divine timing and divine action, and this was a divine action. That car was totaled. They gave me a check that I know my car was worth more than that for me. So my mind, I was like, but that my car, this was a Benz. Do you understand what I was driving? It wasn't like a brand new Benz, but it was my Benz. But for them, it was like, it's not worth us to hit this and go into this. So we're going to give you what we're going to give you. And you can't go against the insurance company. You can go and try to fight it, but wherever you go, the lawyer you're going to get, it's going to take away from the money you're trying to get anyway. So you're pretty much just in this situation where it's like you got to take it, right? I took the money and I'm like, okay, now I got to go get me another car. So I'm a responsible person. I'm not going to take the money and go do some extra stuff with it and spend. Nope, this is for another car. The car that I kept seeing this car pop up on my web browser, and I never closed it. When I saw it, because I knew what I was looking for, I was looking for an E350. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get as big of a Benz that I had, but I'm okay with now getting out of my way, because I could have been looking for the exact same car and then trying to go get the exact same car back, right? Or another big body like that, right? But
Mhm.
consciously, I made a decision through free will. I'm okay with a little bit smaller car. Let me get the E350. Let me get the E550, E350, either one, but let me do the E class, because it's not as big as the CLS and the S class, but it's not small like the C class, and I can't do that. So I want this car. So Spirit was like, okay, cool. Then I happened to see it on my web browser when I was looking for it, and I was like, oh wow, that car is right here in Vegas. That car was $10,000, right? So I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, hold on. I said, you know what? I don't even have to check yet. I'm like, whatever. I'm just dismissing it. 5 days later, the insurance company called and said, oh, yeah, we're going to do everything online. Don't even worry about it. All you got to do, I'm going to send this to you, e-sign it, send it back. And as soon as you send it back, we're going to just do a bank transfer right into your account. Boom. Everything happened in less than 30 minutes. I was like, okay, I can roll with this. I like this. Let this
Right.
roll. So then I'm looking and again, I still waited. I had a friend who goes to car auctions because he has a dealer's license. He goes to the auctions, and I was like, I want this particular car. Go find me this car. And he couldn't find the car. He found it the first day, but I didn't have the check yet. So when I did get it, he couldn't find the car. Come to that Monday, Spears like just inspired action. Desiree, go get that car. Go to that dealership today, not tomorrow. Today. Following my inspired action, I went to that dealership where I saw it all week on my browser. I went there, grabbed the car, got the car, and took it right to my mechanic. He said, okay, this, and this is wrong with the car. I'm like, okay. Drove it back. I went in there. He said, go negotiate. Okay, I'm listening. I'm just following. No thought process is coming from me. I'm just being aware of my outside surroundings and listening. So I go back. I negotiate the price down, get the car, went on and paid cash for it, drove it to my mechanic, set up an appointment, and everything he said was wrong. I said, how much is it going to cost to fix? Everything that he fixed on my car was still covered under the one check that they gave me. Like, nothing came out of pocket. So everything that was wrong with, he fixed everything on that
Wow.
car. And I went across
Okay.
away from him, got the windows tinted, and that still did not come out of my pocket. Nothing came out of my pocket. That entire check went to that car to get the car, upgrade the car, everything that was wrong with it,
Wow.
and get the windows tinted, and nothing out of my pocket. And that car that I got was 5 years newer than the one that I got into an accident with. 6 years newer than the one I got into the accident with. So I'm like, I got a newer car, nicer
Whoa.
car. I mean,
Okay.
so that's what I tell you by the energy that I'm pulling, because I wanted another car. I didn't know how I was
Mhm.
going to get it. And like they say, don't worry about the how. Just put out there into the universe of what you want, not how you're going to
Mhm.
get it, which is why I said that my what went out there with no how in sight, and how it came. I could have felt bad. It was like, I got into this accident, they hit me, this and that, and could have been distorted, pissed off, upset, irritated, and all these different emotions, which then would have pushed anything logical out of my mind, and I would not have been able to listen to my inspired action or even feel my spirit and God's presence leading me into different places to get what I was asking for in the first place. That's why I said that. So I learned how that, okay, this accident, because I think like that. When I had the accident, I wasn't thinking negatively in the accident or during the process, because I'm like, you know what? My warning from my subconscious a couple of days ago that this thing is going to happen. So that was like preparing yourself. So empathically, as empaths, we have clairvoyance. You can see the dreams. You know what's going to happen before it actually happens a lot of times. So I knew that was coming. So it was kind of like I was prepared. And I'm like, okay, God, I got you. We got you. We got this. And the whole process, I was not upset. No negative energy, no festivity, no none of that stuff. I just allowed the flow of the process of whatever energy was in the most positive mindset. I wasn't feeling negative about anything. I didn't feel like, well, I can't do this, I can't do that, I need this, I need that. I didn't put no thought process from my mind into this process. And I completely moved out of my way to allow what I've been asking for to happen without me knowing how it was going to happen. So, however it happens, you have to allow the process to be what it is, as long as the results. And I tell people, quit worried about the process, worry about the results. Focus on the results, because as you keep focusing on the results, however it's going down, even if it doesn't look like what you thought it should look like, the result looks like what you thought it would look like. The process doesn't. So I've learned to accept the process for what it is, and that it's above me and beyond my understanding on multiple levels, because I am just a human learning to be a spiritual being through this human experience. So I'm
Mhm.
going to go through my experience spiritually, even though I'm not connected to all parts of me spiritually. I know that they come in and they divinely interrupt what I'm humanly thinking to create what I want. And that is really what it is. It's all about focus on what you want, staying focused in that arena of what you want, and not allowing those emotions to deter what it is you've been asking for. Because it could have went two different ways. I could have been very negative about that whole situation, and I could have been pissed off, and I'm like, I can't even get this, I can't do that. Well, let me try to do this, let me try to do this. And I could have took that money and blew it. And I mean, a lot of people have. I mean, but it's a choice, because we have free will. They could have chose to take that money and let me go get a $5,000. Let me go just give me a little bucket, and I'm gonna have to, start all over and come back up. You know what I mean? But that wasn't my mindset, because I was okay with understanding the spiritual process, which is why I said that how it happened and how it came about, and it is for me, that's what I needed. And that's how it came about for my life. But I can't go against what God said. He in the Bible itself, our manual, I'm not going to go against what he said, and I'm going to get out of my way. And I'm just going to allow this process to just lay out however it's supposed to lay out until I can get to the end result. Because I can't see it doesn't mean that that's not the process. I don't want to disrupt the process with my brain and my thought process because I don't know everything. And because I don't know everything, I'm not going to interrupt that with that. I'm just going to allow it to be what it is and then let it unfold. And then a lot of people keep looking like, you got that card? And then, a lot of people say, well, I got blessed. That's my blessing. Look at it however you want to. It is a blessing, but it's a blessing that I asked for, because you don't just get blessings out of the blue and they just fall into your lap. You have to ask for something. You have to want something. And it starts off with you asking and knowing what you want, which is then you stay focused on that plan and that process of your journey so you can start attracting things to you. I'm big on attraction. I'm big on the law of attraction. I'm big on all of that, because I've also been on the other side of law of attraction, to where a lot of my negative thought processes were rolling out there into the universe, and I kept attracting the same thing, or attracting the same relationship, attracting the same type of relationship, person after person. I was with 4 different relationships, but the man felt that the situation felt the exact same. The person looked different. The situation felt the same. So at that point, I'm like, okay, you know what? This ain't them. This has nothing to do with them. This is me. I'm attracting this to me because of how I'm looking, what I'm feeling, and what am I using to decide I want this person in my life. And whatever it is I'm deciding how I want this person in my life, I need to change my application. I need to change my interview process. I need to change, first off, me. Because you wrong, whatever you're doing, it's not, the results are not what you want it to be. And because the results are not there, then I'm not going to blame everybody else for the results I'm getting. I'm going to blame me for the results and be accountable in that.
See, then herein lies the issue that I have with the law of attraction. Who was it? April Mason gave words to what I was trying to explain.
Mm.
I much rather I what makes sense to me is more so what is called the law of assumption. It is what I said it is. So we use the terms opposites attract for a multiplicity of reasons, right? And I will not bore you or take you the long way around the barn with that. But just because we have this errant doctrine or theology that I have to be X, Y, and Z before what I said or what I want or what I need will find me. And that's one of the biggest lies that we sell people. You can be on the journey to healing and happy at the same time. You can be currently not 100% baked, and that dream guy or that dream position, you can do them both in tandem. You can heal and love, because in my opinion, love is confrontational. So until we get that security or that love, whether it's romantic, whether it's friendship, support group, whatever it is, it's that love that finds those things that need to be worked in you, which is of course part of the journey. But I'm not a big fan of the law of attraction for a multiplicity of reasons, because if the only thing that's going to attract to me is where I currently am, if I'm a hot mess, then my whole life is a hot mess, and I don't subscribe to that thought process. Now,
Mm.
we do have to be very honest and just be like, look, it's wholehotmess.com over here, people. But this is what I want. This is what I'm working towards. These are my goals. And so what I'm saying is, while I'm presently here, I am presently working through my stuff. While that's happening, everything that I need, that spouse, those resources, those connections, all of those things are coming to me at the same time. So it's more of what I say than what I attract. So
And this is
that's
why I love this conversation, y'all, because we can't think the same. That's a boring life. That's this a
oh
boring
God.
world. If we all think the same, it's boring. It's just so boring. So, and I don't care what nobody says or what you truly believe, you will always be able to go and research both sides and you'll find some validity in both
Mm-hmm.
sides. So that's why I say that y'all got to get off of who's right and who's wrong, because there's nobody wrong. We just have a
Yeah.
different way of looking at
Yeah.
it, because nobody is wrong. Everybody is right, because you can go and actually do research on anything that everybody says. And that's why some people get confused and like, well, this person said this, but this person said that. What am I supposed to believe? What do you want to believe? It's not
Hell,
about
Satanism
what
is
do
a thing.
you
It's a whole
right. It's a
religion.
whole
It's
religion.
what
So
do you
what
believe?
do
What do
you
you
want to
believe?
believe? What are you comfortable in believing? What is going to make you feel good? What is going to
Yeah.
bring that passion of love and feeling of shoot? Some people love hate. You know what I'm saying? Some people love to be mean. Some people love
But you
that.
know
I've been around people
why?
that don't like that,
But here's the
because
thing.
they're holding on to some traumas that they haven't let go of, and they'd rather throw that out there on you and make everybody miserable because they haven't figured out how to fix themselves and how to actually get over their traumas of what they went through.
Even
Go ahead.
before that, though, even
Mm-hmm.
before that, it's all about connection. So
Right.
when we talk about emotional intelligence, which is all you do, it's
Right.
emotional intelligence. Where am I? What am I feeling? Why do I feel this way? My first three books are all of my material at some point is dedicated to emotional intelligence, because it's so crucial. Who am I? What am I feeling? Why do I not like Desiree? Is it really Desiree, or is Desiree doing something that hits a soft spot, hits a pain point for me?
Right.
So now Desiree is out to get me. No, Desiree is just Desiree, and I need
Right.
to go look in the mirror and go, why does what she do bother me?
That part.
What is it? Who does it remind me of? But we find connection in the things that we believe. And so many people are so afraid to disconnect, which is where where we both do a lot of the same thing, to be honest.
We do.
It's just different focus points. But
Right.
what we both struggle to do, and what our mandate is to get people to be safe enough to disconnect from that thought process. It's all a school of thought, right? If you
Yes.
think you can't, you can't. If you think
Right.
you can, you
You
can. It's
can't.
getting you to disconnect from that. But there, as long as there's a connection, I mean, why you think cults exist? Why you think terrorist groups exist? Because that person was looking for a connection, and that's where they found it.
Right. Right. And everybody, look, while you out there, don't make life harder than what it's supposed to be. It's not complicated. It's the most simplest thing ever. Stop going against what you trying to understand, and just find a comfortable understanding level for you. What is okay for you, and move from there. You got to figure out where you are in your mental growth process. You got to figure out where you are.
That's
And once you
hard.
figure out, it is the hardest thing ever, but that's why we exist, right?
You
You
telling
have
people, but here's
coaches,
what you're
you have
doing though.
therapists.
But here's what you do. Here's what you just said. So you contradicted yourself. So what you said was, it's not hard, but you're telling a person who in most cases have never thought for themselves, right?
Right.
So our parents do our thinking, our preachers do our thinking, our mentors do
Teachers.
our thinking, our teachers do our, we were never taught to think. That's the problem I
Right.
have at school, which is why I
Right.
went into education. We don't teach people to think. We teach people
Right.
to do. So then
Right.
they come to a person like us and we tell them to think, and we wonder why people jump off bridges.
No, but see, like, and then for me, like when I tell people to come, I'll say when you go get somebody, they need to be open enough to help you learn how to learn, right? And they have this whole class on learning how to learn. I love the class. I took a college class for that on Coursera, and Dr. Barbara, I can't remember her last name. Sorry about that, but Dr. Barbara is so amazing at teaching you how to learn, and she has a whole class on learning how to learn. And there's certain neuroreceptors in the brain that you can connect the process of learning how you need to learn, so then you can actually start to think for yourself versus having people thinking for you. And I tell people, I said, you yourself don't even know who you are, because you are a bunch of miniature 50,000 people, whoever had you had in your life, depending on how old you are, if you're 30, 40, 50, whatever. Those are all that years, all those decades that you've had all these people in your life, from co-workers to bosses to spouses, relationships, whatever, friendships. even strangers that you even temporarily met for a moment, if you pick up some habit of theirs, that became a part of you. And now you have things of you from other people that you admired at the moment. Now you're feeling like, I know who I am. No, you don't know who you are. You're only mimicking what we learn. Like she said, they don't teach us how to think. We mimic. We are mimickers. We start mimicking as a baby. Kids mimic you, and you learn how to mimic, and that's all you keep doing is mimicking over and over and over and over the people you want. So when you love somebody, like your spouse or your boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever, somebody you're close to, sibling, whoever that you have love for, that love for them will create you to grab parts of them to make it you, because you love them. You want to identify with them. You want to be close to them. You want to be on the same page with them. And then when you're not with them anymore, you still holding that pieces of them. Now you don't even like them because you learned the person that they were. You don't even like the person that they are. But now you want to get detached from that person, and then you still have these memories, and those are the triggers that we create from the memories of the habits that we had from them. And then when we start, oh, I like strawberries. Why you like strawberries? Oh, well, my ex
I
used to
don't
love
know.
strawberries, so I
Mm-hmm.
ate them all the time. Or I don't know, I just do. Like you said, I don't know, I just do. And it
Mm-hmm.
could be somebody you don't even like, and you're doing something
But
that they
therein,
do.
but
You're
that's what's hard. But that's what makes it hard is unlearning.
unlearning that
Unlearning
part.
is
Unlearning.
difficult. And so
It's
we set people up for the
practice.
okie doke though. We tell them it's really not that hard. You're gonna think this way and then your life is gonna shift
Oh no, no,
and you
no.
can manifest and
No,
but
don't
but
get it
here's the
wrong. I
thing.
be telling people that mess is
But
hard.
that's
It's hard. The
but you
concept
just
is
said
simple.
it's really
No,
not that hard. It's
let
not
me
complicated.
you're
The
right. Now let me rephrase
concept,
that.
the
Yeah,
journey, the hardest part of the journey is coming outside of yourself and it's unlearning. And
right,
that part is also the scariest part
right.
because you've held all of these things to be self-evident. It is
Yep.
gospel. What your
Yes.
parents said was law. What your preacher said was law. And I'm a preacher and I have to be very careful what I say and how I portray things to people because a lot of times again, people aren't strong enough or smart enough to think for themselves. So they take it as gospel. So it's
Right.
coming out of all of that stuff and making
Right.
peace with maybe there's a better way. Maybe just
And you
maybe there's a way that's trying to help me and not, and I'm not reading that is she said my mama was a lie. She said my daddy was a lie. She said my teachers was a lie. That's not what you're saying. What you're saying is there's a better way,
there's a better way.
and so that is pretty to me that's the hardest part is the hardest part is facing what you thought was the truth and it was the truth at that time and realizing there's a better way there's a new truth and being okay to try it.
Right. And you're right. And being mindful
Uh-oh.
of your words. And what I said, it was simple and easy, meaning that when you learn the concept, you understand the concept is an easy concept to understand. The process is a journey. And that's why they say it's a journey. It is hard because you got to change yourself. You got to change everything about you, how you think, how you process an information. And as you're getting new information, how are you going to process that information? And how are you going to merge your old information with your new information to actually have a new concept to reprogram your brain to do what you wanted to do to get the results in your life that you want. So I know this like an hour and 8 minutes. Me and Ebby can go on for a whole nother hour because I'm like intrigued with this conversation. I love it. I knew it was going to be amazing. I love when people are in alignment,
It's been an
but
hour
they have
already. Oh
different
my
perspectives.
goodness.
It's been over an hour, but yeah, I love it when people are in alignment with two different perspectives because there are billions of people in this world and people are going to think a million different ways. You have so many different ways that you can pull this apart, you can get to it. The problem is not really trying to understand the concept of being okay to say, like she said, just to have that trust to go in and say, you know what, I'm gonna trust your process and I'm gonna see where it takes me. It's not gonna be no end all be all, and it's gonna be one person that's gonna take you all the way through the end of your process. It's not it, because you're gonna constantly be growing. Growth does not stop. And because growth doesn't stop, you're gonna constantly be shifting and changing as you're moving forward towards your process and however you need to. And then you just got to be okay with whoever's going to come into your life to help you get there. Everybody has a little nugget to give you, whether you understand it on their level or you don't understand on their level. Learn how to ask questions. Learn how to tell somebody you don't understand. It doesn't make you look crazy or stupid or any of that. It just lets them know that I am talking up here when you're here. And I need to bring my conversation here with you so you can understand the conversation on the level that you need to understand it, or not that I need to understand it. And people get away from that because they know the information.
Oh,
They
you're
have the
breaking up there.
experience.
I can't understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but I want Ebby, before she goes, to tell y'all how to reach out to her, how to contact her, because like I said, amazing, 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 amazing. And I would love to have another interview with you, and definitely gonna keep in touch with you.
You sound
But
very, very distorted.
you're good, but tell everybody how they can find you.
Oh, so you were very distorted. So I didn't
Mhm.
catch a whole lot of what you said.
I was tell everybody
You're
how to
clear
find
now.
you. Okay. Tell everybody how they can find you and locate you, reach out to you to get your services and get your advice and help and just be a blessing to them.
Oh, sweet. Well, before I do that, were there any questions? Or there anything I was trying to? So when y'all say I went looking away, I promise I wasn't being disrespectful. I was trying to keep up on social media, but I didn't see anything come across. Um, but I love questions. I love live questions because sometimes with things, when we're going back and forth, sometimes it cues certain things. So if there's any questions, don't be scared to ask. There's not a
Well,
dumb question except for the question you don't ask.
boom, pow. They've been telling you that in school. They even told y'all that in school. They even try to encourage you to ask questions in school. You're still too scared to ask. But and then too,
Right, right.
Wednesday. I'm not sure what your Wednesday schedules are, but that one is more of a live off of my platform. I'm doing every Wednesday of just having these conversations and being able to open up to for having questions and answers, because I love questions because it helps direct the
Mhm.
conversation of what you as the audience need, and not what we need, because we know what we need, but we need to know what you need. So I love the interaction. Come on there on Wednesdays, 4 o'clock
Okay.
Pacific Standard Time, 7 o'clock your time, Ebby, out there where you are. So 7 o'clock at night, if you could jump on,
Send me the
I would
link.
love to.
Send
I
me the
will definitely
link.
send you the link. I would love to have you on there. We could do this together and help change many, many lives. I've been advertising for like the last couple of weeks, but definitely, I'm just going to start the first. This Wednesday is going to be the first one, and I'm just going to keep going every single Wednesday. So whatever Wednesday you can come, I would
Ooh.
love to have you as a co-host, and let's be on there
Okay.
together. And I don't even like the word co-host. We both hosts. I don't like that level of the titles. I'm not a title person. I don't like that. I'm this, I'm that. No,
Right.
we can host this whenever you want to come on. Come host with me, and let's just pour into people and help them, because I love the dynamic we're coming from with the two different mindsets and the two different understandings of where we are. I don't want nobody to think exactly like I think. I want you to think how you think, but our end
Mm,
results are still the
that's
same.
boring.
So I love that.
Yeah.
Let them know your email
Absolutely.
address, website, all that good stuff. And
Sweet. Well, to get in touch with me, feel free. My email address is EbbyJ. So that's E as in Echo, B as in Bravo, B as in Bravo, Y as in Yankee, J. So EbbyJ at this shift, SHIFT. I'm not cussing in that one. This shift hurts.com. So EbbyJ at this shift hurts.com. What's my text line? 775-442-3229. My webpage, I was talking to my crew earlier. We are shifting platforms, but that will be thisshifthurts.com. So everything will be succinct. But to reach me in the meantime, email me, ebbj at thisshifthurts.com, or you can text my business line, 775-442-3229. I'm on social media currently as a Choate consulting firm Choate Consulting Firm LLC, or choate.ebbj on Instagram. But yeah, I'd love to talk with you. I'd love to see if we're a good fit, because that's something else that I love about Desiree. We're very vocal about finding a good fit for you. I may not be a good fit for you, and that is okay. You do not, it's one tip I give anybody looking for a therapist, psychiatrist, even a doctor, or a teacher. find where you do not have to go in trying to translate yourself, where you can go in, you can lay it all out there, you feel safe, and they're challenging you. If you are not growing, you are with the wrong person. If we're not pissing you off a little bit, if we're not doing a little rubbing, if we're not making you go and clutch your pearls, you're probably with the wrong person, beloved. But it should always be respectful, and you should always feel safe. Now, you might not like us. I tell people all the time, you can leave with an attitude, but you're going to be accurate. And I'll see you next
Right.
week at the same time. I love you. But yeah, reach out. I love to talk with you some more. And I can't wait till Wednesday now.
Oh,
Send me the link. I'd
cool.
love to jump on.
Actually, right after this, when we go off live, we'll go backstage and we'll talk a little bit. Yes, hit Ebby J up. Like, this is transformative. I absolutely love it. Just have an open mind. I'm like her. I tell people, I said, you all fit in your little comfort zone boxes. I'm the person who's gonna shove you out your box. You're gonna be really upset with me. I wasn't a construction project manager because I'm cute. I was a construction project manager because I'm forceful. I know how to get the results and do what needs to be done to get that blueprint to look like the reality of how you wanted to see it, how you envision in your mind. You can reach me. It's right here. Boom. Desiree Williams at blanktag.org. And I always make it so simple so you can just do that. The only thing missing on my name tag right here is the .org. So just add the .org on the back. You can email me if you want to be a guest on the show, if you want to get some consulting, if you want to even get information for the show that Ebby and I will be, doing. She will come hosting with me whenever she's there. Whenever she's not there, I'll be there, but she's going to be there. And you can come and get the double team and get this information and get these nuggets to change and transform your life so you can create the results in your life that you are looking for. Also, hit
Yes.
me up on my Facebook personal page, Desiree Passionate One Williams. Passionate One is one word. One is spelled out ONE.
One word.
Just run that in there and it'll be easier to find me. You can email me, again, Desiree at blanktag.org, my website, www.blanktag.shop. And you can also hit me on Instagram or on Facebook business page, blank underscore tag underscore. Those are all the ways you can find me. YouTube is still coming soon. Actually, everything that we're doing, even Ebby coming on Wednesdays, all that's going right on YouTube, baby. Everything is going to be on there, building a YouTube channel starting on the 1st, actually on starting on Wednesday on the 29th. So we will see you then. See you next week. Have an amazing week, everybody. Rest of your week. Think about what we said. Go in there and make changes in your life. And if you have questions, hit us up on Wednesday evening and come and get the nuggets to change your life. I'm looking for that. Change your life. I love you guys.
Yes.
We'll see y'all
Love
next week.
you.
Bye.
Bye.